First contact with Joshua Put.
Hello and welcome to First Contact Radio. How you doing today? Welcome back to the beginning of a new week. Today is the 6th of November 2017. On the Jewish calendar, it's the 17th day of Cheshvan, the year 5778. Our energy around us, the astrological energy that is, sun sign, 14 degrees into Scorpio, so we're just about to that halfway point. We have 30 degrees in total to go before it moves to the next sign, so you can track this. And our moon sign currently is in Gemini. And again, just so you know, here over to the right, if you use this planetwatcher.com, you can just click ahead and you can watch how the planets progress on a daily basis. You could see where they are, how fast they move along. So you could see that the moon sign here spends roughly 2 days and then it goes into the next sign. So you can look ahead, get an idea of the energies we're dealing with. Again, I look at everything as energy: fire, water, air, and earth. Fire, ideas; water, emotions; air, words and actions; earth, the physical world. And we continually are going through a process moving through this reality where we're dealing with fire, water, air, and earth in its different forms. And so the more we understand how to work with these energies, the better. Of course, the physical energy is the final lower energy of those forms. And a lot of times we go to try to fix things in the physical world. And we are able to fix some things in the physical world, but other things we need to be able to go to the higher realms and fix them. So we need to go above the world of form to the world of maybe ideas to let those fiery ideas trickle down, or maybe go back a couple of steps to the emotional aspect or the airy aspect. You know, it's just a matter of us continuing to look at energy. And the more we do, the more we get better at it, and the more we're able to understand. Maybe what I'm saying right now to some of you might not make any sense, or it might make perfect sense. But I look at the world every day as energy. We're moving into a field of energy, and the better we can interact with it, the better off we are. And so what this tells me from an energetic standpoint this month, as our moon sign or our sun sign is in Scorpio, we're moving through a field of emotional energy. Our conscious mind, the conscious mind of the people on the planet who are affected by this, are moving through an emotional field. Okay, so as we're going through the emotional field and dealing with the ideas of Scorpio, which is transition and transformation, because you have energies coming up from the depths, questions that may be needing to answer that have been pushed aside, feelings that have been pushed aside. So we need to deal with that. But our Gemini, the moon sign, our unconscious desire wants to be able to communicate that, wants to find a way. The only challenge we have is emotions sometimes are hard to communicate, as would be ideas. So you can't always put emotions into words. So there is our challenge, to try to figure out how to communicate what we're feeling while being able to bridge that communication gap, because emotions and thoughts are different energetics. Okay? All right, so a lot going on this week. Let's jump ahead now into taking a look at what's happening. First, some older news. Anthony Weiner is finally making his visit to prison. Anthony Weiner heads to prison, something that we've been waiting for a long time to hear. Perverted ex-politician Anthony Weiner is headed to prison Monday for sexting with a 15-year-old girl, a crime he called his rock bottom after years of career-killing online antics. The disgraced Democrat spent his Sunday holdup in Union Square apartment, where a source in the building spotted Weiner's dad, Morton, getting Starbucks around 11 a.m. Father and son then spent about 5 hours together ahead of Weiner's trip to the Federal Medical Center in Devens, Massachusetts, where he's under orders to arrive for his 21-month sentence no later than 2 p.m. The lockup on a former Army base about 40 miles northwest of Boston is just one of 2 sites that offer residential treatment for sex offenders who share a common housing unit and undergo therapy 5 days a week. All right, so there you go. There's one person who's getting justice for the crimes they committed. Don't worry, there will be more. Now, over the weekend, you may or may not have heard, but Rand Paul was attacked. Senator Rand Paul is recovering from 5 broken ribs and bruises to his lungs and is unclear when he will return to Washington, aides said Sunday, signaling that injuries he sustained Friday are far more severe than initially thought. The second-term Republican senator from Kentucky and the 2016 presidential candidate was attacked allegedly by a next-door neighbor, Renee Bouchard, 59, who was charged with fourth-degree assault. Paul made his public comments since the incident on Sunday, tweeting that his wife Kelly and I appreciate the overwhelming support after Friday's unfortunate event. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers. Doug Stafford, Paul's chief of staff, said in a statement that the senator has 5 rib fractures, including 3 displaced fractures, meaning the bones are partially or completely cracked. This type of injury is caused by a high-velocity, severe force. It's not clear how soon he will return to work as the pain is considerable, as he has difficulty in getting around, including flying. Paul has lung contusions or bruises caused by the broken ribs. He cannot say whether one lung was bruised or both, and said that Paul's recovery could last several months. Okay, here's the man, Rene Bouchard, who did this. Obviously, in order to have broken ribs, you got to be hit pretty hard. Okay, so this man attacked Rand Paul, and I believe this man has proven himself out to be a liberal through the investigations of him. Why is it always the liberals that go off the deep end? Why is it the liberals that go crazy and start shooting up people? Yet the liberals will continually point that the conservatives will go crazy, but they don't usually go crazy because all of the shootings we can think of that have occurred have been those who have been Democrats, been liberals, members of the left. It's a dangerous, dangerous thing that's happening. Dangerous mindset. Now, over the weekend, there was some international progress made in Saudi Arabia with a number of arrests. Saudi royalty arrests rocked the Clinton-Obama regime. In a shocking development, Saturday, the Saudi Arabian government arrested prominent billionaire Walid bin Talal, a member of the royal Saudi family with deep ties to Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. Arrests were carried out by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's recently formed anti-corruption committee that included bin Talal, 10 senior princes, and dozens of ministers for corruption and money laundering charges. Bin Talal's primary shareholder of Citigroup, News Corp, and Twitter was arrested along with dozens of other princes and ministers on Saturday. Bin Talal's arrest was part of a massive sting of Saudi elites charged with corruption and money laundering by a newly formed anti-corruption committee headed by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Meanwhile, royal princes' private planes have been grounded. Okay, so this is important. News Corporation, this is Fox News. So this bin Talal was a primary shareholder in Fox News Corporation and also in Twitter. Okay, just something to be aware of. Known as the Warren Buffett of the Gulf, bin Talal, one of the world's richest people, is a notorious figure in American politics with deep ties to both Clinton and Obama. Americans privy to bin Talal and Saudi Arabia's corrupt hand in American politics may recall a 2015 tweet from then-candidate Donald Trump that foreshadowed his arrest. As the story of the massive Saudi royalty purge develops, Americans should anticipate these arrests, and the subsequent investigations will implicate Obama and Clinton in major ways. Here's something also says those following the Trump efforts to police Obama and Clinton's excessive criminality are aware Mueller's probe implicates Clinton crony and lobbying giant Tony Podesta, brother of Clinton campaign manager John Podesta. And then later we do have connections in here between the Saudi government right here. If I told you the Democratic Party lobbyist Tony Podesta, whose brother John chairs Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, is a registered foreign agent on the Saudi government payroll, you'd probably think I was a Trump-thumping conspiratorial nutcase, but it's true. The lobbying firm created by both Tony and John Podesta in '88 receives $140,000 a month from the Saudi government, a government that beheads nonviolent dissidents uses torture to extract forced confessions, doesn't allow women to drive, and bombs schools, hospitals, and residential neighborhoods. Let me scroll down a little bit further because I'd like to show you one other thing about Ben Talal that is very interesting. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. Ben Talal also owns the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons are the four highest floors of the Mandalay Bay Hotel in Las Vegas. Okay, so what we've got here is Ben Talal was arrested. He's like 50% or 47.5% ownership of the Four Seasons Hotel, which is above the Mandalay Bay, the top floors. There was question about whether or not the Saudis were involved with this incident that took place in Las Vegas. Perhaps that might be the case because the person who is involved with ownership of those upper levels of that Mandalay Bay has been arrested. And we all start to see a few connections in here that maybe we weren't seeing before. Okay. Here's another one that also involved Saudi Arabia. Saudi Prince Mansour bin Muqrin is killed in a helicopter crash along the southern border near war-torn Yemen. Saudi prince was killed where a helicopter crashed near the southern border. They share with Yemen on Sunday. Prince Mansour bin Muqrin, deputy governor of Asir province, was among several government officials on board the aircraft that crashed in the air region of Saudi Arabia. Okay, so something is going on. We've had all those arrests. There were about a dozen arrests of the princes, and now we have the helicopter crash which killed this Prince Mansour bin Muqrin as well as a number of other officials. So something is taking place. Remember, President Trump visited Saudi Arabia, and there were some indications that there was going to be efforts to stomp out the human trafficking that was going on and work together to stamp out the evil that has arisen up amongst their ranks. We'll see how it goes. Something seems to be occurring in that regard. Russia dossier inspectors suspected reporters were paid to spread collusion claims. What? Say it isn't so. The role of reporters is taking an added importance in federal court battles over the infamous Russian dossier that leveled unverified charges of collusion against the Donald Trump campaign. In U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, Fusion GPS, the dossier's financer via the Democratic Party and the Hillary Clinton campaign, is fighting a House committee chairman's bid to find out if the opposition research paid journalists. In U.S. District Courts in Florida, self-described dossier victim wants a judge to order the news site BuzzFeed, which published the dossier in full, to disclose who gave it to them. Okay, so I don't think we need to really second guess whether the media has been paid off. We know that they've been paid off. That's just what the media does. They involve themselves in these scandalous things because they are part of the problem. Project Mockingbird, CIA entered the media. Have you heard that they left? I haven't, so they are still there. Still there. I believe you can even find a recent interview somebody did with Anderson Cooper, and when they brought up his ties to the CIA, things got rather quiet, as I recall. All right, here is something huge. McCain was notified by official documents that uranium was being transferred to Moscow in 2015. He passed it off to a congressional liaison rather than handle it as the ranking member of the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee and the Investigations Subcommittee. So these are some very serious things that are going on, but we understand that John McCain is not and has not been for the American people. You can go all the way back into his Vietnam days and look up Songbird McCain. Find out why they called him Songbird, because they say he was a traitor back then, and it appears that nothing has changed over all these years. Now, over the course of this weekend, we had a really bad shooting that occurred, and there's investigations trying to find out who this shooter is connected to, if anything. Well, here's she's a bad bitch, Texas church shooting, Facebook rants of creepy gunman Devin Kelly, who preached atheism before killing 26 churchgoers. This is a picture of the gunman. He's described as weird and being as an atheist. Classmate Nina Rosa Nava wrote on Facebook that the mass murderer used to rant on the social network about his atheist belief. She said he was always talking about how people who believe in God were stupid and trying to preach his atheism. Fellow user Christopher Leo Longoria replied, I removed him from Facebook for those same reasons. He was being super negative all the time. Another Facebook friend of the killer added, he was weird, but never that damn weird. Always posting his atheist shit like Nina wrote, but damn, he always posted pics of him and his baby crazy. Okay, you could see multiple pics. Speaking with the Mail Online, Nava describes Kelly as an outcast, but not a loner. On the subject of the massacre, she said it's not something I expected from him. Another former classmate who wished to remain anonymous told the Mail that Kelly always creeped me out and he was different. One former friend of the depraved killer wrote on Facebook of his shock that someone who would stay the night at his place when we were kids would carry out such a horrific crime. He added, I ended up distancing myself from him in high school after he got in an argument with me and he tried punching me several times. Dudes were crazy. Okay, so lots of weird things about this man, the story that occurred with him. Why did he do this? Well, there's certainly speculation out there. One of the posts that came up that Jack Posobiec put up, uh, Antifa discusses attacking churches. And in this thing here, you've got one post, I find the victory lap taken by all the black mass types to be detrimental to the anti-fascist cause. If you're following just a black flag, can't handle a little criticism yourself, you're not helping. This responder said, go after the heart of the far right, conservative churches. With the response of anarchy, baby, let's go get Whitey. Okay, well, that's really weird. You know, Antifa had their big weekend where they were supposedly going to go and tear up a lot of things, destroy a lot of things. Didn't happen. Question is why? Was it a attempt by them to convince the public they were coming on one day and then they're going to come on another day? Or was perhaps their funding cut off and when there was no money to pay them, maybe they didn't show up? There are pictures out there you can find of supplies that were left behind that were never picked up, actually, of posters. You see them all neatly wrapped, ready to go, as if somebody pre-printed these out and, you know, prepared them, which we know that occurred because of the George Soros money. So we've got this pre-announcement. Is it real? We don't know. Investigations will continue to confirm that. And then we have this other report. This may or may not be true. I'm not saying it is true. It is just someone in a report that is looking to try to connect this shooter in with a member of Antifa. Now remember, these things can easily be photoshopped, so it's not necessarily the case, but we do want to look at all potential links. The gunman who opened fire inside the church in Sutherland Springs had been identified as David Kelly, an Antifa member who vowed to start a civil war by targeting white conservative churches and causing anarchy in the United States. Wilson County Commissioner Albert Gamez Jr. said at least 27 people have been killed in the shooting, according to reports by CNN and the BBC, with the confirmed death toll expected to climb in the coming hours. Witness reports saw that Devin Kelly walking into the Baptist church in a small town 30 miles from San Antonio, 11:30 Sunday. He killed at least 27 people, injured many more. Was one of the shooters in the church, according to eyewitness, who also report that he carried an Antifa flag and told the churchgoers this is a communist revolution before unloading on the congregation and reloading several times. Here's that report. Scene reported 2 shooters. Yeah, there was 2. Talked to some people who were inside. They said 2 guys came in the back carrying guns, started screaming, ran to the front and draped Antifa flag over the pulpit. Said this was a communist revolution, pulled out a copy of Das Kapital and demanded people quote specific sections. Anyone who messed up got shot. Okay, so is that real? Don't know. Devin Kelly's Facebook page stated that he was an atheist and his interests included civil and social rights and civil rights, as well as endorsements for local Texas Democratic political candidates. His page also featured photos of several high-powered weapons. Okay, and then here again, this is the pre-announcement. An eyewitness told CBS News there was heavy police presence on the road to the church. Here we have the one, Dave Pollock, go after the heart of the far-right conservative churches. Rich Hertz is looking for anarchy. If these two people are calling for this kind of thing, I have no problem with them being called out because they might know something about this. Texas Governor Greg Abbott posted to Twitter shortly after the mass shooting saying our prayers are with all those who were harmed by this evil act. Okay, so question is this accurate? Was this man a member of Antifa? Maybe he was. And if that's the case, then I'd say Antifa really screwed up because they definitely have now just put themselves on the domestic terrorist list. If they aren't a member of Antifa, then this is just sort of an attempt by the author of this article to try to, you know, create some sort of narrative that maybe isn't there. I don't know the answer to that. I am just posting to you the different information that is out there so we can try to figure it out. You know, this Antifa group, they are a group that are really problematic. And they're problematic because of the ideology that they express. They're not a new group. Some people wonder where Antifa comes from. They have their roots going all the way back to Nazi Germany. And from what I understand, that they had been members of their group and had been killed off by Hitler. And this was prior to when Antifa really formulated as a group. And as they were getting killed by Hitler out there in Germany, they formed to try to stand against him. And in standing against him and then fighting that evil, they ended up taking on some of the same tactics that were being used by the Nazis themselves, and they themselves then became the very thing that they claimed to hate. And over the years, they have been used by individuals and groups like George Soros and others to help destabilize countries around the world. This isn't the only place where they are in America. They're not a brand new group. They're not a local club that's made up of good people wanting to do good things. They're a communist group that has communist ties that wants to cause a real revolution in this country through violence and other means necessary. That's why you see this Antifa group connecting with groups like BAM, by all means necessary, or even connecting with NAMBLA, National Man-Boy Love Association. They're not connected in with healthy, positive things that we need to be involved with. So we need to stomp them out. And if you're an Antifa member, well, this might be time for you to rethink what you're doing because you might be going down the wrong path. You just might be going down the wrong path. All right, here's a interview. I'm not going to play this. I'm leaving this for you. It's an interview with Donna Brazile, and she's doing this interview with George Stephanopoulos. During the course of this interview, she talks about her time with the party as the chairperson and how she used the term a patsy slave, said she felt as a patsy slave to the party, that once Hillary got in charge of the purse strings, there really wasn't anything that could be done. She confirmed about Bernie being, screwed over through the process. She even, through the course of the interview, then mentioned Seth Rich. There was really no reason this woman needed to bring up the name Seth Rich, but she certainly did. And in bringing that name up, now it brings to light what she knows about that subject and the murder. Seems to me that she knows a little bit more than what she might be saying. Now, as of today, I was seeing notifications that the book is going to be delayed, probably so they can go back and they can re-edit some of the things that she had said in the book. She doesn't seem to be very apologetic about what she put out there. She knows she has critics, but she seems to really be determined to put forth the idea that she was put in a bad spot and that maybe she was going to be the patsy for all of these bad things that happened. Well, we know how it all turned out. She might just be trying to save her own butt because we know that she did some crooked things that she was party to, and, can't deny that occurred. So check out that video and I think you'll find it very insightful. All right, let's switch gears because, again, it's always important that when we look at the events in the world, we need to be aware of the darkness and the evil that is around us. But once we're aware of what it is and what's taking place with it, then we can make the spiritual adjustments we need. Because remember, we've got fire, water, air, and earth. The earth, the physical world where we are, is the place where these events that are taking place are occurring, okay, in the physical reality. But we can adjust that because there's a spiritual reality that exists beyond the physical. So if we just want to get caught up in the physical, that's okay, but we're not going to really see that there's a bigger picture and a solution. And the solution is always in the spiritual. I know that there are many out there like the alleged shooter that claim to be atheist, and those out there who have issues with prayer and God, and well, that's their problem. Eventually they will come to find out that they will, that there's a little bit more that's going on. But sometimes people have to stick with what they think that they know and maybe not move further because they're afraid. I've known several people who have been atheists. One in particular, when it came to the end of her life, when she was diagnosed with cancer, first words out of her mouth were, "Oh God," which was quite interesting considering that that was not a phrase you ever heard her say during the course of her life. And after she passed, I had a chance to look back through pictures and memories that she had put forth, and you could see that she had visited all these spiritual places around the world. And it occurred to me that she claimed to be an atheist, but she was truly seeking. And I'm guessing that's probably what's going on with most people that are out there. They don't have an answer, so maybe they're seeking harder than others. They're just also putting out their doubts a little bit more strongly than others as well, which is why we see them and we hear about them. So I think it's just the same confusion and lostness, but eventually people do get found and do figure it out. We just have to keep making those efforts. Daily thought for today from the Jewish calendar: two minds. The mind of a woman and the mind of a man are two distinct minds at their very core, and only with both can there be a world. It began when God decided to create a world. In doing so, he took two perspectives. He saw the world from beyond as its creator, and he saw the world from within as the energy of life. From that first perspective originates the mind of man. From the second, the mind of woman. That is why the man has the power to conquer and subdue, but he does not have the woman's sense of the other. That is why the woman feels the other. She does not conquer, she nurtures, but her light is tightly constrained. As they bond together, the man unleashes the woman's light. The woman teaches the man to feel the other. In that union shines the very essence of all that is holy and divine. And coincidentally, isn't that exactly what this is showing here? This is our moon sign today, Gemini. We have the male, the conscious mind, looking to the woman, the unconscious mind, who is looking to the angel, the higher self. All of the different aspects that were just described in this situation of male and female and spirit interacting are very significant, because when we truly understand this balance, then we truly understand how to move through life. Because otherwise it can be very confusing. We get caught up. If we don't have proper relationship with life, then the information we're getting leads us to making decisions that aren't based on clarity. The better the decisions, the better our sense of discernment and discrimination, the better the decisions we're able to make because we're getting better information. So as we go through the day, keep this in mind, that we want to develop our relationships with life, with ourselves, on how we communicate, how we express who we are and what we're about. But at the same time, always keep our eye on the prize that there's a higher spiritual value. So as we go forth in the world this day, my friends, let us just focus. Let us look towards God. Keep those words, trust God, in mind, because they are the words that will lead us forward to all that we need to do. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Till then, I love you. Keep loving each other, and I will talk to you soon. Peace. I am out of here.